Hello everyone! Good day! Welcome to the English world. Today, we will discuss the feature writing part 2. So, let us refresh our mind. Last vlog I've done. We discussed all about tools in building up the theme. So, the first tool in building up the theme is using dialogue and quotations. So feature writers like fiction writers often use dialogues or quotations to keep story moving and alive. Next, use of famous quotes. So idioms and anecdotes. So idioms and anecdotes must be simple, brief, relevant, have an intrinsic value. So another tool, establish a voice. Voice is the personality of the writer and can be used to inject color, tone, and subtle emotional commentary into the story. So using our voice personality, it adds color to the theme of the feature article. So, ending or conclusion, the ending will wrap up the story and usually goes back to the lead, often with a quotation or a surprising climax. So, when we write a feature article, the ending or the conclusion must be an interesting thing. It could be a quotation or a surprising ending. So let us proceed to the literary devices or techniques. So in the Philippines, the foremost exponent of new journalism was the late Nick Joaquin, the national artist for literature, who was also a Ramon Magsaysay awardee for literature and journalism. Most of his articles, which appeared in various national publications, carry his pen name Quijano de Manila. So, Nick Joaquin is one of the famous national artists in literature. So, his pen name was Quijano de Manila. He is one of the famous writer, a good writer, rather. So, literary devices or techniques, the more common literary devices now being used by feature writers are. So, these are the common literary devices. First, flashback. It tells of events in the past that have relevance to the unfolding story. This is a legitimate and natural device in narration and usually explains the background of an event. So, from the word flashback, so it can also it can be also called throwback. Okay, so it is the narrative events in the past. So second, the use of parallelism. So when you compare parallel events or situations to further build up your theme. So the events should be parallel. So third, contrast. When you make contrast or conflicting situations to emphasize a point in your story. So contrast is also one of the techniques in writing feature article. So next, the atmosphere. So another term for atmosphere is tone. So one of the example speaks of a tone of voice. It could be harsh, grating, cool, hysterical, loud, angry, sarcastic, petulant, crisp, effervescent, and wistful. So, a feature article should have, or you can use as a writer, different atmosphere. So, or the different tone of voice. So it could be harsh, grating, cool, hysterical, loud, angry, sarcastic, petulant, crisp, and other atmosphere that you may use in writing a feature. Next, the setting. This refers to the time and place or the milieu when the story happens. So just like a story, feature article can also have setting, which pertains to time and place. 6. Technique is the imagery. So the imagery is the mental images formed as a result of the words used in the feature, story, or any form of literary piece. So imagery, from the word image. So these are the mental images from your feature story. So, seventh technique is the diction. So, diction in writing, this means the use, choice, and arrangement of words and phrases. So, when we say diction, it is the arrangement or the grammatical structures of your feature article. Figures of speech. So this includes metaphor, simile, hyperbole. Okay. So when we say metaphor, it it is the comparison of two things without the use of like or as, while the simile is a figure of speech that compare a thing with the use of like or as. Then the hyperbole, these are the exaggerated statement. Okay, these three major kind of figures of speech, you may use this in your figure or in your feature article. So there are many kinds of figure of speech, just like the alliteration, the assonance, the synecdoche, the irony. So it could be an additional color. So you may use them in your feature article. So we go on now to the tips on how to write a good feature. So the most important part of a feature story is the lead. Okay, just like writing in news or writing an editorial page, lead is also the most important part of feature article. So in the lead or opening paragraph, you need to grab your reader's attention, to make them want to stop whatever they are doing and to read what you have to say. So in your lead or your opening paragraph, the reader should catch their attention. So that to make them want to stop whatever they are doing and to read what you have to say. So, points to remember. So, points to remember. First, know your reader. Next, it is important to know who your readers are. So if you write for a paper with general circulation, any subject can do. But when writing for a special publication, say a medical journal, you have to think of you have to think of feature. So say a medical journal, you have to think of features that would interest those in the medical profession. So remember to use points of reference that will be meaningful to your audience. So it is important to know who your readers are. So this is the highlight, or this was the highlighted statement in points to remember. So points to remember. So keep your tone informal. So if you are writing about your personal experience, you will need to be quite open. So when, as what the statement is stated, that the personal experience, you need to quite be open. Try to keep the tone straightforward and conversational. So you are trying to communicate here, not show off your ability to regurgitate long words from the Oxford English Dictionary. So you are just need to communicate in your feature article. So you need to straightforward and conversational. So show that you know your subject matter. Another point to remember. So news features give background to a current news issue. Even though the subject matter may be quite dull, you have You have to try to make it interesting. It is important to remember that although you may have a strong personal opinion on the subject you are writing about, you should always remain impartial, fair, and accurate. So news features should be authoritative and based on facts that you have to be checked and can substantive. So for today, that would be all. Goodbye.